In this video I'm talking you through everything about Pailleté Feuilletine, a bit of history, how to make it and the best way to use it. Stick around until the end so you don't miss anything. Let's start with the basics. Pailleté Feuilletine is a French pastry term. Pailleté means flaked or shattered into small shards. Feuilletine comes from feuille, leaf, but in pastry it refers to something extremely thin and delicate, like the thin leaves of puff pastry. So together, Pailleté Feuilletine literally means thin, delicate layers broken into flakes. Pailleté Feuilletine, or simply feuilletine, or crispy flakes if we are keeping it casual, is traditionally used as a crunchy layer inside mousse cakes. It's made from ultra-thin, lacy crepes that dry out and become incredibly crisp. When crushed, they turn into those delicate flakes that stay crunchy even when mixed into chocolate or mousse. You can also use them for decorating cakes. At the end of the day, it's just crispy crepes broken into small pieces. You can buy it ready-made or make it yourself at home. And honestly, making it's very simple. I'll show you my method, which is much faster than the classic version you will find in all pastry books. I'll give you 2 recipes and show you how to tweak them to create different flavors. A bit of history. Feuilletine dates back to 19th century France. The exact creator is unclear. Different sources credit different people, and even the origin story varies. Some say it was invented as a clever way to use leftover crepes. Others say that it happened by accident when crepes were left on the stove too long and crisped up. The process is simple. A thin crepe batter is baked for a few minutes, allowed to cool, and as it cools it becomes crisp. These crisp crepes are known as crêpe galotte or crêpe dentelle. Once crumbled, they became feuilletine. Why make it at home? Besides being quick and easy and much cheaper, the quality is simply better. Commercial feuilletine is usually made with vegetable oil. Because vegetable oil has a higher melting point, it leaves that waxy feeling in your mouth. Real butter melts at body temperature, around 32 to 35 degrees Celsius, 90 to 95 degrees Fahrenheit. So homemade feuilletine tastes cleaner, lighter and more delicate. How to use it? There are 2 main ways. First, decoration. You can bake it in a silicone mold, the link is on your screen, or break it into large shards to decorate cakes and entremet. If you are familiar with the tuile, yes, it's essentially the same recipe. I will talk about that later in the video. Second, as a crunchy layer inside mousse cakes or confectionery, including chocolate bars and bonbons. The key is keeping the flakes crispy, which means mixing them into low moisture environment. Chocolate is the perfect example. Just combine melted chocolate with the feuilletine, spread it thin, and your crunch base is done. You can add nuts, dried fruits, or anything complements your flavors. Another great option is mixing feuilletine into gianduja. The tutorial link is on your screen. Then pouring it into whatever shape you need. How to store it? Keep it in an airtight container or vacuum sealed at room temperature. Feuilletine is shelf stable, so it's more about quality than safety. I recommend using it within 4 weeks. Over time, exposure to oxygen and moisture dulls the flavors and softens the texture. Now let's go through the ingredients. You will need equal amount of 4 ingredients. If using 100 grams of each, the total batter amount makes 3 30 by 40 cm tray or 12 by 16 inch. Butter. I prefer salted butter because the flavor is more interesting and the salt is evenly distributed. Unsalted works too. Icing sugar. You need icing sugar because the baking time is so short that regular sugar won't melt properly. You can make icing sugar at home. The link is on your screen. Egg whites, room temperature, plain flour. 5th ingredient is a cocoa powder for a chocolate version. Just keep it aside until needed. You will need only 20 grams per half of the batch. Start with preheating oven to 170 degrees Celsius, 338 degrees Fahrenheit, fan forced. Melt the butter. It should be warm, not hot, around 35 to 40 degrees Celsius, 95 to 104 degrees Fahrenheit, and pour it over the egg whites. Optionally, you can add vanilla extract now. Then blitz with a stick blender. Add the sifted dry ingredients. Sifting is only necessary if your icing sugar has lumps. If it's smooth, you can skip it. Blitz until the paste comes together. If you want both vanilla and chocolate flakes, divide the batter into 2 jugs and add cocoa powder to one of them. Blitz again to incorporate it properly. Using a stick blender is much faster for the small batches. I've tested all methods, and for me it beats both the stand mixer and the food processor. The food processor becomes convenient only when making a larger batch, and the stand mixer is best when producing this in bulk. Spread the batter very thinly over the silicone mat. No need to spray it with oil. Make it as thin as possible. The chocolate version will naturally be a bit thicker because of the extra dry ingredients. Some recipes use more flour, that's a personal preference. A thicker batter is easier to handle, but the flakes won't be as delicate. You can make a batter even thinner by increasing the egg whites and icing sugar. The recipe is on your screen now. Bake for 8 to 10 minutes until golden brown. They might not feel crispy straight out of the oven, but once they cool, the magic happens. They crisp up beautifully, and you can break them into thin flakes. I also prefer the homemade version because it produces larger pieces compared to the commercial one, so it makes crunchy layer even more crispy. And with the larger pieces, you can use this for the decoration. If you're familiar with the drill, you already know it uses a very small amount of batter, but sometimes making a tiny batch is annoying or impractical, so turning the extra batter into the crispy flakes is the perfect solution. In my drill tutorial, I showed how to make a coffee-flavored batter. And yes, you can use the exact same idea to make coffee-flavored feuilletine. You can also add cinnamon, specular spices, honey for flavor, or even brown butter. And of course, experiment with the different cocoa powders to create your own variation.